Wait, so what are we doing? Oh, it started.
It's book club time. Welcome. We have a surprise guest who's a disembodied
Woo!
voice. Welcome, Justin. How
Hi.
are you?
As a disembodied voice, I can't complain.
That's good.
Excellent.
Hi, sluts.
Hello.
Hey.
Here we are again. Funny that we all have met in this place at the same time.
We all just stumble here every Tuesday.
Yeah. Somehow. And somehow
Fancy
Justin
meeting
found
you
his
here.
way here too. I don't know.
Jeremy
This is
jumps
where
out
I
of his
live.
horse pit.
The horses give it a bit of ambiance, I think.
Oh, I actually just noticed the horses behind you.
Oh, they're one of my favorite parts of the
Aw,
Jeremy frame.
I love them.
It's
Yeah.
Jeremy at the top of the list and then horses.
They make me think of this book that I used to read as a kid.
Really?
It was about like how I think it's like a Native American story about how like horses were made or something like that. I don't remember. But it's like this guy who forms a horse out of clay and then he like becomes a real I don't know. It's a really cool story. But what I remember
Crazy. When you were talking about it, I was like, is this the clay horse story? And yes.
Oh, wait, you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I can't remember what it's called.
I don't remember what it's called either, but I remember less of the story besides the clay horse part because he forms it out of clay. But I remember less of the story and more the art because the art is really cool and really pretty. I wish I could remember what that book is called, but it's a kid's book. And that's what the drawing behind you makes me think of.
Oh, nice.
That's lovely.
I think the cover of it is like all of these horses and they like the art is similar to what's behind you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Anyway.
it was like a full-length novel, and I was like,
oh no, it's a kid's like picture book, but the art is really pretty. The illustrations are really pretty.
Oh.
Now I just want to look it up because we're here talking about it, and this is book club, right? This is a book.
It is book club.
This qualifies.
This
Absolutely.
qualifies. It's a book. It's a kid's book, but it is a book nonetheless, and it's also one that I would give 5 stars.
We should read. We should do a book club like on a kid's book.
Actually, would be a really good idea.
Green eggs and
There's an odd amount of books about clay horses.
Oh, are there? Okay, see, probably because it may be some actual like I literally just Googled horse made of clay. And didn't get books, obviously.
I bet you didn't. A bunch of clay horses?
I put a Native American book about clay horse.
Now I added book to the end, and now I'm just getting how to sculpt a horse out of clay books. Oh, I think I found it, actually. Hold on. This is it. It's called The Mud Pony.
Mud Pony.
By Karen Lee Cohen.
Yeah.
And illustrated by Shanto Begay.
This
art is awesome.
Isn't it? It's really, really pretty.
Yeah.
That's what I always loved the most as a kid was the art. That's what I remember the most about it.
Okay, yeah.
But it is a good story though too.
Huh.
They managed to get a lot of motion in their pictures. It's really cool.
Right. Naturally, it is a reading rainbow book.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Butterflies in the sky and all that.
I need to look inside. I wonder if my parents still have this.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Anyway.
Huh. Where are you at in Fairy Tale?
Okay, so I am at the beginning of. Oh wait, no, sorry, not the beginning. Well, yeah, pretty much the beginning of chapter 31. So I think I have like
31.
2 chapters and then the epilogue.
What? Wait, there's epilogue?
Jeremy's like, oh, I missed that part. No, I'm kidding.
I missed the whole epilogue.
Wait, there's more? Hold on, let me see.
I read it so long ago, I don't even remember now.
It's been 84 years. Okay, there is a chapter 32. And then there is an epilogue. Yeah. So I just
Ah.
have 2 chapters and an epilogue, so like 3 chapters. But Charlie now has defeated both the nasty, really, really disgusting and deformed flight killer.
Isn't
And
that
also,
nice?
it is very nice. It was a very nice ending. I mean, not for him maybe, but it was satisfying though. He got literally like swallowed in the monster's flesh, which was really gross to read about.
It was so
It was pretty
unsettling.
awesome. It was pretty awesome though. He just like disappeared into it. It's not like the monster ate him. I mean, it did, but not like he opened his mouth and ate him. He just like sucked him
Gooped and
up
slimed
into his body.
into it.
Yeah.
Gooped in slime.
At least that's how I was imagining it.
Toad face with his scrambly
Yeah.
noodle bottom.
And he had like the more noodles, the more he would. I don't know. He like took his clothes off and and then the part where it said the tentacles like came out of his butt too. And I was like, I
He's
don't need
like
that image.
half Putt from Star Wars and half like Ursula. It was
Oh,
terrible.
And like also part Cthulhu as well.
Spaghetti the Hut.
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
the
I
Hut.
think he might have been the flying spaghetti monster, actually.
Of or Pastafarianism.
Pastafarianism. Yeah.
That's it.
All
It's
I
my
know about
bishop
that is
boy, FSM.
all I remember about that is that there used to be like I think both a Facebook and a MySpace group that was called the Flying Spaghetti Monster. That's all
You
I
weren't
know.
living as a kid in the like 2000s if you
I
weren't
was.
like in some way
Mhm.
associated with the flying spaghetti monster online.
Yeah. So yeah, everything is like basically happy and cool again, except that we haven't totally reached the end. There's still more.
Hmm.
So it's exciting. Although I think as Charlie's like on his deathbed because he's healing from that bite wound that Petra.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, she like took a chunk out of his arm, but she was so diseased and just like horrible that she almost killed him, or is basically killing him because he's on his deathbed.
Yeah, and she's just a normal person
Yeah.
too. She just bit a chunk out of his
Yeah,
arm and gave
she's
him human
not.
mouth problems.
Well, then Charlie did say how she would like. I'm just thinking about it is so gross, but she would like lick the flight killer's like drool or something off of. So just
She
imagine.
references it like in that
She
fight too, and I'm
She
like,
does.
Petra, don't talk about it.
all just to be queen when he would die. That's gross.
Gross.
That's sad.
I mean,
Was
you gotta want it, I guess.
She wanted it, so
she went
yeah.
for it?
I mean, not
Girl
him.
worked
She
for
didn't want
it.
him. She really worked for it though. You know, she almost earned it. But in the end, she didn't. So sucks to be her. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. It's super good. Okay, so I will say this. I kind of had this brief thought about how it's just tunnels, or I guess not maybe tunnels, but spiral staircases or stairwells or whatever, leading into worlds, leading into worlds, leading into world. Like it's just this like ongoing forever and ever. It's what it seems like, at least, because Charlie goes from his world into Empus and then goes from there into this other world that we don't even know what is called, and then the monster comes from another world like deep below, or I don't know, is it below? Is anything? I mean,
It's
what is
hard to
even the
say.
Yeah. It's such a cool concept, and love that whole idea that you just stumble upon this sort of stairwell that leads into another world, and there might be a stairwell in that world that leads into another world. It's super cool. I had that brief thought. It was like, is this where we're going with it? But then I was thinking, what leads into Earth, like into our world? Like where? Obviously, you can get to our world from Empus if you go back the other way, I guess.
Mhm.
But I think, was it Mr. Bowditch who said anything that comes from Memphis can't survive in our world?
Yeah, yeah.
So if something leads into our world, who's to say that, like, if we tried to go into that world, we couldn't survive? I don't know. I was like, ooh,
That's a
what
good
leads into
point. I
ours?
didn't think about that. That's very
Yeah.
interesting.
I always wondered, like in the first Gunslinger book, when Jake ends up at I think it's called the way station, and there's like
Yeah.
a pump, and it's like pumping up water.
Mhm.
I always wondered if that was like the portal into the Gunslingers world, because like you were saying, where they
Oh.
go down into the well to get to Empus, and then you go down another well to get
Another
to
well. It seems to all be wells that don't drop water necessarily, if at all. But yeah,
yeah.
because in our world it is basically a well that doesn't end in water. But I mean, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think
Yeah,
about the one in Gunslinger though. That could
yeah,
be.
because it kind of is a well. If I remember, the way station
Mhm.
definitely had something that was, I believe, powered by like a nuclear pellet, so it would run
Yeah.
and pump up water for them for like a really, really long period of time. And if I remember correctly, that's where he finds Jake. So I don't know, maybe there's a connection
That's a
there,
good
which would,
point. And then
you
where Jake
know,
Good.
leaves him later on is also like another chasm, like there in the
it is,
mines, and he
Right.
yeah.
falls
He just
down in
falls,
this like
but he doesn't seem the whole time he knows he's going to be sacrificed, but then when it actually comes to the time where he does die, he's not
Yeah.
scared anymore because somehow he realizes that he's just gonna survive and go into another world. I mean, even when he's falling, he says to the gunslinger, "There are
Yeah.
other worlds," or something like that. It's like,
There are
bye,
other worlds than these. See you. Ah.
bye, peace.
Bye, bitch.
So
don't
yeah,
kill me
somehow
next time.
that chasm led into some other world as well. So
Yeah, I never even thought about that, but that's entirely possible. When he lets him go, you don't see
yeah,
him drop to his death. So it's entirely
no,
possible there's like like another portal down
you
there.
just
I
keep
think, yeah,
going and you end up. Yeah, I mean, I think it
right.
because the way it was described that it was so deep you couldn't see the bottom.
Right. Right.
So or deep and dark or both. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That also kind of leads
Hmm.
into the horror of it, that like the thing that makes it so bad is it is beyond all the worlds, like into the
Mm-hmm.
realm of the deadlights, which is like the nothing beyond
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Which
Which
is
is
oh, sorry.
oh, so I was just gonna say, which makes me think of where this monster in Fairy Tale probably comes from too. Like it's just beyond. I don't know,
The
seemingly
lights
beyond.
in it and behind it made me think of like the Deadlight situation
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah. That's
creepy.
interesting.
I also really enjoyed how methodical the trip to the Dark Well was, because you go
Oh
up this
yeah.
spire on this very tight magical elevator that like ends up like doing a weird thing and it might not work, and you finally get to the top and you cross over this very thin and dangerous graceful arc into the next spire and then
Right.
start your descent. So like you're oriented, but you also don't know where you're going at the same time, which is really
Right.
fun. And then there's the whole other third spire that you'd never see. What the fuck is that? Where does that go?
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about the third one. It goes into another dark well.
Do the stairs
Another
go
one.
up in it?
There's
I don't
more.
know. And the way
Well,
you can only get to it from the top of the first spire, like the whole second spire is
Yeah.
only entranceable from the top of one of them. Like that's just
Hmm.
weird, and it's all very like weirdly unsettling.
But I was thinking, so if you're going down this like spiral staircase that's comes from the top of the second spire, there's apparently all these doors that lead into all these floors in the like the I didn't call it a castle, but castle is the only thing I can think of right now.
The
Palace.
palace, I think
Thank
is
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, wouldn't you potentially just be able to go to one of those floors and then get to that spiral staircase and then go down? Like you wouldn't have to go all the way up just to go all the way, right?
That's a really good point. It made me think like it was like Hogwartsy and like, yeah, you could get to this location by just going to this level and going through the store, but you can
Right.
only get to the well by taking this route.
But maybe
Hmm.
so. Maybe it's like doesn't
Like a
appear to you or something unless
yeah,
you
like some
go
type
all
of
the way. I don't
magical
know.
ritual
Yeah.
like was being done by going along this specific route. That was very
Right.
dangerous.
Yeah, that whole just the description of all of it was super cool. And how they just kept going deeper and deeper, and where Charlie's like, I don't even know where we are. Like, I don't like Empus above us. I don't even know
Right.
where we are in Empus, but underground. Yeah.
My
And then
calves are burning.
that's true. Thinking of all those stairs that they went up and down, like, oh my god, I would be dead just from that.
Do you guys want to hear the Lovecraft Easter egg that I think I found?
Easter egg us.
Egg me.
Crack the egg.
So when he first goes into the city, and he's following, Adrian Bowditch's initials. Do you remember there was like a part where he talks about how it seems like the buildings don't follow like normal geometry, and it almost
Yeah,
seems
they
like
seem to sort of
that,
move on their own a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, where it's like the
Yeah.
architecture and the angles don't quite add up, and it's like they change depending on how you look at them.
Right.
So I believe that's a direct reference to a short story that I just finished, The Call of Cthulhu. So you basically, they would have these dreams, and then in the dream, you would see this uh, giant city. And it's a city that used to exist in the past, but it was basically lost. And there's like these giant towers, and you think that they're like towers that are kind of set up like stair steps at first,
Mm-hmm.
but then they realize that they're not towers, and there's just like giant stairs for a giant like cosmic otherworldly god.
Yeah.
That's
And
fucking awesome.
yeah, it
That's
is.
super
That
cool.
part in the Call of Cthulhu where they're like, "Oh yeah, here's these like enormous towers all next to each other," and then like the people realize that they're not towers at all, and in fact they're just stairs like leading up to a giant door, and they're like, "Oh my god."
I'm so much smaller
God,
than I
that's so awesome.
realized.
Yeah. And that concept of non-Euclidean geometry is referenced a lot in that world, where um, they're looking at the door, which I assume that's where Cthulhu comes out of, and they're like, is it flat on the ground or is it at an angle? Like we can't tell because here like science and mathematics no longer make sense, and you would look at like a dome, and at first it looks like it's convex, but then you would like look away, and then you would look again, and then it's like concave, where it's like the geometry is almost like changing in there.
Shifting in time.
Shifting, yeah.
Yeah.
And the geometry actually ends up killing somebody because there's an angle that's like both obtuse and acute like simultaneously, and he gets
Oh,
caught
that's
like
fucking
by
scary.
this, yeah,
Yeah.
and he gets destroyed by this otherworldly geometry that doesn't make sense in our world, and like crushed by the evil geometry.
But
So
yeah, they
I,
straight up walked into a new dimension. So like there was entire things they couldn't even perceive until it was cutting them in half.
Yeah, until
yeah,
they weren't compatible with it.
yeah.
Psych.
Yeah, that's
terrifying.
fucked up.
That is.
Good job,
I
Lovecraft.
was never good at geometry, but I mean, death by geometry,
The worst.
Disrespectful.
It's terrible. Geometry
So-
kills.
Math killed me.
Space math.
Space math.
Cthulhu math.
I thought you guys would like that little Easter egg that I found in Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, no,
Cthulhu
that's
calculus.
really cool.
Let's teach that class, somebody in the role playing game.
I always knew
Please.
math was bad for you. That's why I
Not even
prefer
once.
words. Language.
What does this dark god do? Divides by zeros and makes teenagers disappear.
I think you got to the monster Gog of Magog, right? You got to
Uh-huh.
that part?
Yep. Yeah, that was not dead, but he made him, like, Charlie forced him back into his world or lair or wherever the hell he's coming from.
Gotcha.
Some
I love
unknowable place.
the name banishing the monster. That's like a
Oh, it
common
was
thing in
so
demonology and
cool.
fairy, like
Yeah,
controlling
actually, it's
fairies with their name.
Yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
even in like exorcisms for Catholicism, it's using their name against them. And of course, like Catholic symbols and whatnot.
That's all the Aleister Crowley
Yeah.
magic is based on, is knowing the name of angels and demons to be able to manipulate them. That was like his thing.
Huh. Interesting.
Weirdo. And here it is at the bottom of Empis. And I love that that name was like the first supernatural experience just about that Charlie had, like even before going into the or maybe it was right after he went into the well, the whole Gog Magog thing, like something struck him with that. I wish I could remember exactly what it was.
There were, I mean, yeah, there were a few different moments where he's like, even after everything, this still seemed so unreal and supernatural. Because everything that he's experiencing is just not of this world at all. Even the language that they're speaking, like he doesn't even know what language he's speaking, really.
Charlie is a great example of another chosen character.
Yeah, he's a very good one. Even at the chapter that I just read, where I think it's right before, like, maybe it's right before they kill the flight killer. Where he says, it, like, in that moment, he fully realized that he was meant to be in here. Like, everything in his life so far that had happened had specifically led him to this moment. And he references, because it seems to start when his mom dies, right? Because without his mom dying, then nothing else would have progressed the way that it did. So yeah, chosen one for sure. Now they also refer to him as that in
that's true.
the book anyway.
Stephen King likes Monster of the Week.
Everybody plays it.
The
He would be
Gog
the
of Magog.
best keeper.
Oh, Stephen King, yeah, I'd pay money for that.
Yeah, as a keeper for Monster
You're gonna
of the
run a
Week. Are you
game?
kidding me?
The creature coming out of the well at the end felt very Lovecraftian too, because it's gigantic in scope and like a amalgamation of like several other creatures. So
Yeah, it was like this dragon, but not a dragon, and it kept describing like the slopping sounds that it would, like, I don't know, like as it would move around.
the slopping sound.
Yeah, especially if it was a mass of different things. Yeah, you could only assume it would. If it didn't slop, it would squelch.
Squelch and slop and slurp and I don't know.
I
There, I think,
Slurping
was some
around.
scraping in there because it had the horns on its, or like the
Yeah.
spikes
good.
on its wings.
Did
or
y'all
something.
ever see the movie when you were younger? It was an animated like movie, but it wasn't Disney. I don't think it was like The Adventures of. It was a
Christopher Robin?
boy flying on his bed, and like this
Ooh.
dark like darkness goo like took over the kingdom, and he like got away by flying away on his bed.
Little Nemo.
No, I think his name
the
is
bed-
Nemo in it. Like it's like The
the-
Adventures of Nemo or something like that.
The bed part only sounds sort of familiar.
This creature made me think of that. It was just like this liquid evil that just like a door was open and it rushed into the kingdom and took everybody.
Liquid evil.
Wait, did
Liquid
you
evil.
say? Oh yeah, hey, that's right. You said it was a movie. Little Nemo: Adventures in Slumberland.
That's it.
It's a 1989 film. I don't think it's Disney.
I think that movie set me up for like my love of horror and reading and playing games like Monster of the Week.
The way this is, so I googled it, that title, and there's a image of it, and it has part of it the name cut off, so it looks like it says Little Emo.
Little emu?
Little emu.
Little emo.
A little emo.
Just a little emo.
Just a little bit.
I mean, his whole family was taken.
It's true. I mean, I'd be a little emo about that too.
He's a wronged.
Oh, it's a. I think it started out as a comic strip.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's called, yeah, Little Nemo in Slumberland, and then I guess they made it into a movie.
There was also
my
an
gosh.
NES game.
It's been around since 1905, by the way.
Holy shit.
1905?
Yeah, so the character Little Nemo first appears in a comic strip called Dream of the Rarebit Fiend, and then he receives his own spin-off called Little Nemo in Slumberland, but he first appeared in 1905, like the character
wow.
Little Nemo did.
Like before even Lovecraft. Wow. That's wild.
It is wild.
Thanks
Shit's
for
old.
enjoying my tangent.
We.
What?
What?
I was just.
This is great
I was
content.
just gonna say. Well, okay. So I started to
I
say.
thought my
something.
mic was breaking up.
No. I was like, So, we can wrap this up a little bit sooner than usual because I think I've seen Christy yawn about 10 times during the session. So if anyone
No,
needs
we
to
don't. I
go-
mean, unless you all want to stop, we can. I'm fine. I'm always gonna be yawning, so it doesn't really matter. It's
Oh,
not because
gotcha.
I'm bored, I promise, and it is all because I am just tired.
Oh.
But I'm kind of never not tired. So.
Aw.
Adulthood.
I'm used to it. But we can keep
Also,
going.
I was thinking, I hope somebody sees like, like Juan comes to you and he's like, "What are all these slut meetings that you've been a part of?"
Okay, no joke. I have literally just been waiting for Will to be like, "What are all these meetings at like 5:30 in the?" Because
somebody's got to see them. Like, there's got to be somebody somewhere in the company that like notices them and is like,
Yeah.
"Why do they do?"
I'm literally just waiting because whenever we're in meetings, and if it's a Teams meeting, but if most of us are like meeting in a conference room, we're still supposed to join the Teams meeting, so it like logs your sort of time, I guess. And so I'm just waiting for that to be like, God, 1 day a week she's working like long hours, and
Way
then
more
they
than
like
usual.
go look into it, and then they find these slut meetings, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" I'm just waiting.
What is
Just
going
waiting for
on?
somebody to say something. Nobody has yet, so.
Is there like a history of people who've been in the room?
Oh, you know, all of this is like tracked.
Probably. Oh yeah,
Well,
I'm sure.
I'm asking specifically because earlier I saw a meeting participant said 5 and now it says 4. So did somebody like jump in for like a second?
No. Only 3 were invited. The 3 of us are invited, and then we added you in, or well, Thomas added you in. That's weird.
Okay.
Oh my god. I mean, maybe Juan jumped in for a quick second.
Juan's like, the sluts.
Everyone's
What is
welcome.
this? Juan can be invited if he would like to join.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to hear him talk about Lovecraft.
Lovecraft? What is Lovecraft?
Oh, so everybody here has read Al-Hazred. Good. So everybody knows about the Tower of Hate.
I just love that he thought it was you were like reading porn or smut at work.
Yeah.
What is Lovecraft?
I did get caught one time by Shannon. It was 2 weeks ago, and we were doing our book club, and I get this message from Shannon at like 6:30. He goes, "Bro, why are you still in a Teams meeting? What's wrong with you? What's going on?"
At least he was looking out.
It's true. He'd be like, "Man, he's working long hours too." I mean, I was thinking about that one time as well, and then I started to like at the before I leave work, set myself as away, so that even if I am actually in a meeting, it just still shows me as away. So then nobody's like, "What is she doing?
What's going on?
Let me ask her questions."
I like now that I have the possibility of like, oh, I took a meeting, an emergency deployment meeting at 5:30. It lasted an hour. So that's why I'm leaving it early today, Alex. I'm sorry.
Perfect.
Gonna be like, I looked at the name of that meeting.
And wait, why is it called?
The client had very interesting tastes.
It's a brand new client. We don't judge the business that they run. We support them either way.
Alex, do we need to have a meeting about acceptance? I thought we were past that.
I'm looking at my bag, and is that a gay card? It is a gay card.
I'm gonna have to ask you to hand that back.
I'm gonna need it.
We could do a really long Teams meeting for the role-playing game and really throw people off. Like, what is this meeting?
They'd be so confused.
Like and also on a long weekend, man.
So committed.
Raises for all of them.
Raises for all of them.
That Costanza's putting in real hours. Spurting them in my here first thing in the morning.
Yes, we can all be like Costanza.
Oh, I wanted to mention setting too. We were talking about it. Justin and I have talked about it, and Jeremy and I have talked about it. Is everybody cool with doing it in Atlanta? We'll have an urban environment that we're all familiar with for the setting for Monster of the Week.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant like us physically, and I was like, wait,
no,
we were doing it at the office. I was like, wait, we're gonna go all the way to Atlanta?
Yep, we're gonna drive to Atlanta.
No, that's cool.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you I can't make it.
Just type Atlanta into your Google Maps.
Yeah, and then go there.
Wherever it takes you.
We're all doing the same thing.
Jeremy has raised his hand.
Oh, Jeremy.
Jeremy, please go.
I would like to vote for a setting. Sunnydale, California. That's my vote.
I know.
In the 90s.
I see. You're just trying to make it better for yourself.
I know people.
Did you know people in Sunnydale in the 90s? Is that why?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I knew a lot of people in Sunnydale. Giles, Wesley, Cordelia,
I don't know any of these people.
Willow.
I don't either. I don't know who any of these people are either. Here's an idea. We could do it in Quebec. Okay.
I don't know
What?
anything about Quebec.
I don't either.
I'm gonna have to do Quebec research.
I'm just saying any place in Canada, but specifically French Canadian, because that's a real Canada.
French Canada.
Because
You know.
it's like the worst idea in Jeremy's mind. I also don't know anything about Quebec either, other than the fact that they speak French there.
Oh, great. Now my character's got to drink Molson.
Now instead of default Southern accent for NPCs, it's gonna be default bad French accent for NPCs.
Yeah. And then I guess talk about like maple syrup a lot. I don't know.
Jeremy's character smashes a payphone out of anger, and there's a guy behind going, "Hey, why are you cussing the telephone?"
That sounded very Jamaican.
Like, do you remember in Angel when he would go from like his human form to like his demon form?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and his face would change. That's
Yeah.
how I felt when you said Quebec. I was like, ah. I turned like monster form. I was like, no.
Bad idea. I think they like it where it's warm.
I'm changing.
Are you? I thought you were aware Yoda for a second.
Where Yoda?
Where Yoda?
Changing, I am.
Wow.
Nice.
All right, so the things to vote on are Atlanta or Sunnydale.
Sunnydale.
I think I know where my vote lies. Because I'm more familiar.
ATL.
And Atlanta. And even then, you know.
Sorry, Jeremy. None of us have watched Angel enough to understand Sunnydale.
But it was in Buffy. It was in Buffy and Angel.
I only ever saw like a handful
true.
of episodes of Buffy.
But I haven't watched either of them since they were. I actually don't remember when they aired specifically, but
all right,
probably as
fair.
repeats.
We're the Hunters of Hotlanta.
But it's just been a really long time. So
the Hunters of Hotlanta.
Ooh, I could hang out in Oakland Cemetery.
Yeah.
You can't.
Oh, you sure can.
A scavenger hunt while you're there.
Except with much more deadly implications.
Nice.
But there'll be snacks. Spoilers, it's the other people visiting.
Oh.
I just want Atlanta because I want to give you guys like problems in Piedmont Park. Like
every gas station we stop at, we have to ask, somebody has to come out and be like, "Hey, you got $1? I want to get off."
That is a common occurrence. Yeah.
And it's the 90s, so there's a bunch of like Sunicos.
Oh, hell yeah, Sunico. That was like the FDA's testing ground for like the Yellow Jacket energy pills and shit like that back in the 90s. We can all cranked up on Yellow Jackets and go hunt a monster.
It'll make you good at math and sex. The Yellow Jacket pill.
Nice.
Pythagoras is a bitch. I got him top. Also, I can plow for 24 hours. I'm changing my hunter. My hunter's gonna. I'm changing my hunter. He's gonna be a flame.
Don't be Danny DeVito. Damn it.
Oh God.
So the monster creeps out of the corner. May I offer you an egg in these trying times?
Nice egg.
Nice egg.
Why do you do this to me?
Has anybody seen my rum ham? Can't plow unless I've had my rum ham.
Would he be a crooked? Is that what that would be?
Oh yeah, it would be crooked. You're right. Oh yeah, he'd be a fucking perfect scam artist.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, sluts. My phone's
Oh.
dying.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
That's
Thanks
not
for the
good.
slut ventures. Y'all have a great night.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having
Yes.
Guest star.
See
Distant
you.
voice away.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, fellow
Bye.
sluts.